We live in a culture where kids are desperate for meaning and value. They're on this incredible search.
Doesn't matter their skin color, doesn't matter their economic status.
They're filling their lives with all kinds of things, trying to belong.
Kids desperately need caring adults that will come alongside them, get right in the middle of wherever they are.
Who love them no matter what. Young Life is caring adults who love Jesus and love kids, and they enter into a kid's world.
Young Life is all about going to where kids are.
We're not waiting for a teenager to come to our building. We come to them.
Young Life Club is the 1 hour a week that we gather a lot of kids.
You're gonna have fun, you're gonna be energized, and you're gonna learn that Christ is not boring.
And the great thing about Young Life is when we send kids to Young Life Camp, they go with their Young Life leader, and that same Young Life leader who's been with them all year comes home with them.
We take very seriously the task of teaching them how to follow Christ, teaching them how to pray, teaching them how to read the Bible.
The vision of Young Life is that every kid will have the opportunity to hear about Jesus.
Every kid deserves to know who God is, deserves to know that somebody loves them.
How can you join this adventure? Because we are moving and we want you to come along.
Our staff are amazing. We need more of them. Our volunteers are amazing. We need more of them. We have donors who give sacrificially, and we need more of them.
If you love the Lord and have a heart for teenagers, I can teach you the rest.
This is an investment that is going to change kids' lives for generations. This is going to change communities for generations.
We know that if we show up and be available, that God uses that process and kids' lives change.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 2021 Young Life Seacoast Virtual Banquet. My name is Andrew Vogan. I'm the Area Director for Young Life here in the New Hampshire Seacoast, and we want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Obviously, these are strange times. This is not normally how we would be hosting a banquet, but these are unprecedented times, so we are trying new things and trying to get creative in how we share our story and invite you and your friends to be a part of it in our community. Tonight we have a real privilege to hear some stories firsthand from some of our middle school and high school friends, from some of our leaders, and even some local parents. And then there's also going to be opportunities to find out how you and your friends in the community might become a part of what we are doing. So tonight, because we are hosting this event on YouTube Live, one of the ways that we were hoping that we could all interact together in real time is using the chat feature, which is off to the side of this video window. So if you're not familiar with YouTube, so just take a minute to kind of look for that, and you might already see some live chats and comments coming in over there in the live chat section, and we would encourage everybody to participate in that way. So if you are actually watching this on March 26th, when we are premiering this, we would love for you guys to chime in and participate in the live chat and add some encouraging words, or if you have any questions, there will be some folks ready to respond to those questions as well. Throughout the evening, you might hear some videos make reference to other websites and other resources where you can find more information, or even find a place to make a donation or find an email address so that you can reach out and make contact with us if you'd like to get involved in some way. At a traditional Young Life banquet, I would be getting up to give a talk called the State of the Area Address. I would be giving updates and sharing stories and news items from ministry across the Seacoast in terms of what's going on in which town, and maybe have a student or two share their story from up front in person. Obviously, this is a different venue, this is a different format. And so rather than me just talk at the camera and tell you all kinds of things about what's been going on, we are going to let our middle school and high school friends and our leaders share their own stories. So that is what we are going to start with tonight, and I can't wait for you to hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm AJ Mann. I'm almost 17 years old. I'm a junior and I go to Exeter High School.
Hi, I'm Lily. Hi, I'm Phoebe, and today we'll be talking about what we love about wildlife. Hello, I'm Tyler Brown, and I'm a junior at Dover High School, and I go to Dover Young Life.
Hi, I'm Kate. I do Dover Young Life. I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Jessica. And I'm Nicole.
Hi, I'm Keegan Brown. I go to Dover Young Life.
And the first time I went to Young Life was around a year ago now. And I was really scared that I wouldn't know anyone and that I'd just be a person in the corner kind of observing everything. But as soon as I got there, all three leaders asked me my name, Becca, Sammy, and Andrew, and we struck up conversations, and I knew that this was going to be a community that I'd stick with for a while. A year later, I'm still here.
So, as you know, we have our leaders as Sammy, Jamie, Andrew, and some other people that can help out sometimes. And basically, they help wildlife in a fun way by making us feel connected by God, by singing, hearing just their beautiful voices, and playing games to make it fun in this little community where everybody loves God.
Okay, so one of my favorite memories of Wildlife is meeting Phoebe. One night we met at Wildlife and we have actually gotten super close and now we're like best friends.
Yes.
So you can just like meet a bunch of people at Wildlife, which is really nice.
Yes.
I like that you can learn about God and you can see your friends. I love Wildlife because it's lit.
I can invite any friends that I want if they believe in God or they don't, and I can have them like start to get into it a little bit and just have a good time with other people.
Okay, one thing I like about Wildlife is how the leaders are really supportive and kind, and I like how they connect their personal stories to Jesus and God and His stories.
And even with COVID was such a big thing, and now with COVID, they just make us feel still safe and learning about God, even though we're in this hard time, but everybody's together and we're still safe with this hard outbreak. So yeah, this is Wildlife, and I hope you guys will start to come.
One thing I like about Wildlife is that we do this little thing on Friday called Faith and Frosties, and I get to come and meet some great people, and we get to go a little more in depth about Christ.
Wildlife is really fun. You get to play games and the leaders are really fun. They play games with you. They make it fun to learn about Jesus and God.
It's a fun place to just go and like learn about Christ and then also do fun stuff.
There's activities to do before it actually starts. So it'll start and you just kind of do your own thing, like play with your friends or something. And then we do an activity all together, and that's really fun. And sometimes somebody speaks about God and how God have changed their lives. And that part's really moving, and it's easy to make friends there, and everyone's really nice.
What I have gained from being involved in Young Life is a lot of good friendships. I started going to Young Life when I was a freshman in high school, and I didn't have a lot of friends in the high school at the time, and I was able to, through Young Life, to meet some really nice guys that I still know to this day, as well as leaders who were really opening and friendly and made me feel like I belong there. I have gained a better knowledge of Jesus through talking with leaders and friends. In parts, I've gained a better relationship and understanding of the Bible.
And the thing I appreciate most about Jesus' love is that it's undying.
One thing I really appreciate about my Young Life leaders is how they're always there for me. I know I can always count on them for anything. I have some of my greatest memories with them. I always have the best time with them. We always laugh together and just make really amazing memories that I'm gonna be so thankful for the rest of my life. And they are just such amazing examples of living like Jesus did and just loving others the way Christ does.
I'm gonna have skills that I'm gonna use forevermore in my life. So I thank all my Young Life leaders from the bottom of my heart. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Hi, my name is Eloisa. I go by Elo, and I am in the Exeter region for Young Life.
Hello friends, my name is Bjorn Anderson and I serve as a wildlife leader in Dover.
Hi, my name's Becca Lagori and I am a Young Life leader for Exeter area.
Hello viewers, can you all hear me? Of course you can, it's a video. Hey, I am Thomas Quinn on the Dover Young Life team.
Hi everyone, we're Graham and Abby Allen, and we are volunteer leaders for Dover Young Life.
Hey guys, my name's Jamie and I am a wildlife leader in the Exeter area.
Hi there, my name is Andrew Vogan and I am the area director for Young Life here in the New Hampshire Seacoast.
Hi, my name's Abby. My husband Bjorn and I lead wildlife with the Dover team working with middle schoolers.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a Young Life leader at Oyster River.
Hi, my name is Sammy and I am a wildlife and Young Life leader.
And what I really do love is just bringing the good news to high schoolers and middle schoolers in the area. I know that it's a very difficult age and a very stressful time, but what I really love is just sharing that good news and having them get a better understanding of who Jesus is and how amazing he is.
We have come to love the energy, the excitement, the competitiveness, and it has been a blast to work with them. Especially this past year, one area that we have seen God move in the ministry is a guys' discipleship group, and we call it Faith and Frosties. They bring the energy and excitement, and I bring everyone's favorite frozen dairy dessert from Wendy's. We share, we usually do a few questions to kick around, connect with each other, and then we read a chapter from the book of Mark in the Bible. We have students who have been very involved with faith, and some students who are sort of newer to faith or maybe have less of a background, and it's been a great time.
My favorite thing about being a Young Life leader is the creativity and working together with people who are so passionate and creative in bringing teens to Christ. It's amazing. We are coming up on a year of a Bible study in Exeter for high schoolers that never existed before the pandemic. Like, we started it because we needed to reach kids, and we did it on Zoom right as the pandemic began last year, and we are still meeting with large numbers, and now we're in person, 6 feet apart, masks on, but there's still a lot of joy in the room.
One of my favorite things about being a Young Life leader is you get to be in this really unique role where you're not a peer, but you're not a parent. You're in this spot where you have a chance to be a mentor to a kid, where you get to speak into a kid's life. They see an adult who cares about them and who comes alongside of them and gets to do fun things or talk about hard things and eat lots of pancakes.
One thing I love about being a Young Life leader is just the opportunity that we have to come along beside kids and just have real relationships with them as they're wrestling with some really heavy and important questions that happen when you're in high school of who you are and what your purpose is in life.
As an area director with Young Life, I get the unique privilege of seeing all the amazing ways that Young Life can bring the community together. Parents and families and students, business owners and coaches, and church leaders from across denominational lines.
This past year for everyone, it's been pretty crazy, but it's been really such a blessing to see how God has taken a lot of good out of the bad that has come from this past year through wildlife. So we as a team, we were able to do our clubs and campaigners on Zoom, and we actually had new kids come on Zoom, and the kids had a blast and they wanted to continue it once school was over. And unfortunately, no one could go to camp, but we were able to create a camp for our students in the Exeter area, just locally, and the kids loved it. And it's really just been a blessing being able to get to know these students and just get a better understanding of what they're going through and where they're coming from, so we can meet them where they're at and be able to tell them about Jesus and the beautiful love story that Jesus is and how much he loves them. So yeah, it's really just been a blessing just to come out of this past year seeing that there's still so much beauty even when there is a lot of pain going on.
In this pandemic time, we've done anything from Zoom campaigners to Among Us, which is a game, an iPhone game that we all can play together separately. So anything from that to when things have opened up a little bit more, just meeting in smaller groups. And that's something that I've really loved and appreciated. And it's been nice to get to know our smaller groups much better. We've still been doing Young Life even in this crazy time, and it's been just as good as ever, and we love it.
Yeah, we love Young Life.
Being a leader is such a blessing to me personally. I love that I get to journey alongside these kids, especially during these crazy, crazy times of the pandemic, and really just kind of be those people, be present for these kids during this hard time of isolation.
I think it's a really important thing as middle school and high school girls are navigating life and figuring out who they are. I think it's really important to be able to have spiritual conversations with them and help them understand who they are as a child of God and His love, Jesus' love for them. So it's a real privilege to be able to do that.
God is showing us big things, and no pandemic has been able to hold us back from that. What Young Life means to me, I would not be here today if it wasn't for Young Life. I was a troubled high school kid, got into a lot of mischief, did a lot of bad things, but my Young Life leaders always had my back, and my Young Life leaders always talked to me about everything. They were never afraid to pull me aside or meet me in the dark places that I was. They came to me, and because of that, my life changed as a high school student, and I wanted to do the exact same thing that they did for me. And my Young Life leaders helped me see what Christ could do through me and what I could do for Christ in my life. And He showed me that He loved me more than I could ever imagine. And I want these students to know that there is a God who loves them, who cares for them, and has big plans for them. But God's been doing amazing things here in Dover, and He's going to continue doing those things.
Hi, my name is Steph, and my two boys attend Wildlife here in Exeter. They've been going for the past 3 years, and this is my son's last year, and hopefully he'll be continuing on in Wildlife. I just want to say a couple things about Wildlife and how impactful it's been in our life. I want to start by saying this past year during COVID, they have still attended Wildlife safely and followed all of the guidelines that the government has put forth. They have enjoyed their time there tremendously, and it's been a wonderful way for them to connect when all they were seeing were us and each other. So it's been a godsend. Wildlife has provided so many opportunities for them that I can't even list them all, but I have noticed such a difference in my boys with their confidence levels, their abilities to be more open-minded. They still challenge me on certain questions they have about faith, but they definitely are presented in a way that gives them a different perspective. Not only when they attend Wildlife, they are absolutely loved and nurtured and taught to be kind to one another. And as much as I do at home, it's so nice for them to go out in the community and have that reinforced. I attended Young Life as a teenager in California, where I grew up, and I can say that the organization had a tremendous impact on my life. Not only did I make the right decision by attending that very first Young Life meeting, but I met lifelong friends that have just played absolutely positive roles in my life. It's also set me on the right course for my faith. I've been able to learn so much, and now watching my boys attend warms my heart so much. I'm so grateful for Wildlife here on the community and Young Life. We are so lucky to have this organization here, and I believe that supporting an organization like this will only help our community heal, grow, and develop youth in a positive light. I'm so grateful to Andrew and the Young Life community on the Seacoast. They are doing tremendous things, and I just hope that we can keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
What an incredible gift to get to hear those amazing stories and to hear some of those insights and comments from our Young Life and Wildlife leaders. I just want to give a shout out to our Young Life leaders and our Wildlife leaders, especially in this last year. The way that you have just risen to the challenge and gotten creative and just not given up on what it is that is so important to us caring for the teenagers in our community, striving to build personal relationships with them, to be a figure who can mentor and invest in them and be present in their lives, to offer hope and spiritual guidance, and most of all, to communicate the love of Jesus and to tell his story. I'm so proud of you all, and I'm so thankful for all of the ways that you have been incredible young life and wildlife leaders in this last year. I also want to give a shout out to our committee members, the adults who kind of work behind the scenes and who are, in a lot of ways, the backbone of Young Life in our communities. We have wonderful committee teams in Dover and Oyster River and Exeter. So I just want to give a shout out to you committee members and say a big thank you for everything that you have done, especially in this last year, to help us keep going. Coming up next, we are going to do something really fun. We are going to attempt to play a game together using YouTube Live and the live chat feature. During lockdown, when we had to do so much of our Young Life and Wildlife events on Zoom, one of our favorite games that we started to play was called the Emoji Movie Titles game. So how the game works is you will see a screen come up one at a time, and it's going to show a handful of emojis. It could be like a little princess, a shark, an octopus, and a castle, or something like that. And then you would have to try to name which movie is being described by all of those little characters. If you're feeling confused about this game so far, just give it a couple of slides, and I think it should make sense as we go on. So here's what's going to happen, is we're going to give about 10 seconds or so to each slide, and then if you think you can guess which movie title the emojis is trying to describe, then go ahead and put that movie title in the live chat feature. And then that'll be how we play this game. It'll only last for a few minutes, but should be a lot of fun, and it'll be a little bit of a glimpse of an experience of what it was like for us to try to make some fun and share some laughs during lockdown when things were difficult and we had to do a lot of virtual ministry. So coming up next is Emoji Movie Titles. Up next, we all have a great privilege. I would like to introduce our virtual banquet speaker for this year, Nathan Gunn. Nathan is one of the funniest guys that I've ever met. His ability to make people laugh is amazing, but also his ability to tell stories about Jesus that are just so compelling and bring him and his character and his love to life have made him one of my very favorite Young Life speakers that I have ever heard in my nearly 20 years of being involved with this organization. So I would encourage you to throw some encouraging remarks in the live chat feature, and feel free to ask some questions along the way if you want. But up next is our speaker, Deacon Nathan Gunn.
Hi, friends. My name is Nathan Gunn, and I'm on the Young Life staff here in Syracuse, New York, and I also serve in our greater Northeast Atlantic Division. And I'm privileged tonight to come to you live, just kidding, from my kitchen through the magic of technology. The fact that I can't be with you in person is an indication that things have just not quite gotten where we need them to be in this pandemic. As we think about that reality for ourselves, we want to take a moment and think again about the reality of these times and all that's going on for young people. You know, just a couple of weeks back, I was able to travel over to Longmeadow, Massachusetts. And besides working for Young Life, I'm also a permanent Catholic deacon. And a good friend of mine there at St. Mary's in Longmeadow, Father CJ, invited me over to meet with his faith formation classes. Now that was 60 freshmen and sophomores before Mass, and then 60 more after Mass. So 120 kids I got to sit with and talk about different life with them. And one of the questions I asked them, what words would you use to describe your own current kind of mental health or emotional stability or just the feelings you're having? And what words would you use to describe not only yourself, but your peers? I want you to hear the words that they came up with. They said they were scared, quiet, disoriented, tired, disappointed, empty, confused, frustrated, sad, and numb. Now, friends, this is admittedly an upscale community, and while the coronavirus has wreaked havoc on so many places, Longmeadow, Massachusetts has been relatively spared. And yet these suburban, kind of affluent teenagers are experiencing these conditions. And so we can imagine what it might be like for others who are less fortunate. And then it dawned on me, these are young people who are in church. These are young people who at least have some framework of faith or a connection to adults who they know care about them. What is this pandemic like for the teenagers in your community and in my community who don't have any connection at all to faith, to purpose, to meaning, or perhaps even to adults who represent those things for them? So what is it that can be said to young people as they kind of walk through and then emerge out of this pandemic? What hope is there that we can give them? Now, obviously in Young Life, we believe that hope is found in faith and through a personal relationship with God. But the way that information, that message is delivered has changed. And the most important and the most impactful way that the gospel or the good news of God's love can be transferred right now is through a relationship. You know, friends, we see that in a very, very short episode in Jesus' life from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. It says, when Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. You know, there is going to be a day again, hopefully in the not distant future, when we will get together again in large crowds. And it says, a man with leprosy came and knelt before him. And he said, Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean. You know, friends, it's a very, very poignant story, because back in Jesus' day, as in today's reality, anybody who had leprosy, which was believed to be a contagious skin condition, anybody that was leprous was quarantined. They were removed from the society. In fact, if you thought you might have leprosy, you had to go and show your skin to the priest, because the priest was known to do everything that was possible to stay clean from infection. And if you were in fact found to be leprous or had a bad condition, you had to spend 7 days initially in quarantine. And in fact, if anybody were to come in contact with somebody who was leprous, They themselves would have to go and show themselves to the priest and then quarantine. To touch a leper was not only against the religious rules of the day, but it was against the rules of the state as well. And so this person comes to Jesus in a state most likely of being scared, disoriented, sad, confused, frustrated, perhaps even numb. And this person comes to Jesus and says, Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean. And we would expect, in a time and an era of contagion and of fear and of unknown, we'd expect that Jesus would, of course, heal that person because he has compassion. But we would expect that he could do that at a distance, respecting the rules and the guidelines of both the government and the religious structures. But Jesus doesn't respect those rules. Listen to what he does. It says, Jesus reached out his hand and he touched the man. I am willing, he said. Be clean. Now tonight, I am not advocating that we all just, ramshod run through town and take off our masks and start hugging every strangers, and that we should not be following the ordinances that are in front of us. However, I do want to suggest two things. First, the divine Son of God and his love is more powerful and more potent than any authority that we know in your community or on earth. And so tapping in to who he is the solution for our young people who are suffering through these conditions. But furthermore, we see in Jesus his desire to heal that man, to heal that leper through human contact, through a touch, through a relationship. And that's what we in Young Life continue to believe. There is no more effective tool to helping shape the future of a young person's life, especially in their faith or their journey of discovering of who Jesus is, than through a relationship. Years ago, and this goes back 10, 15 years now, some staff and I here in Syracuse were privileged to be invited into the justice system in downtown Syracuse. We learned that nearly 1,000 young men were incarcerated in our county for at least one night every year. Now that, to our opinion, was a high school population. Many of those young men were minorities. And so we got permission to go in and spend 90 minutes right there in what they called the pod, where all of their cells were. And we would come in, and we called it, the unit was called 2C. It was on the second floor, C block. So we called our club YL2C. And we would go through all the doors and all the barriers, and we would go through all the security, and all that we were allowed to bring into that space were Bibles. And they would let the guys down to meet with us, and we were the only organization that was permitted to have that type of access to meet with them in their own environment. We got to build friendships with them. We got to build relationships, as every Thursday afternoon, someone from Young Life, always in pairs, would go in and meet with the guys. We had very, very nominal and basic Bible studies, and we would ask the boys at the end of the day, would they be willing to give us a prayer card? If there's something that they needed in their life, we would be willing to have a team of people pray for them. Well, I don't have to tell you that beautiful things began to happen in that 2C. And not long after, about 6 months in, the man in charge, the deputy in charge of all the programming said, Young Life has transformed 2C. And I said, that can't be true, Sergeant McDowell, because we are only there 90 minutes a week, if that. It can't be us. It must be something else. He said, I don't know what's happening, but it's different. And then we received this prayer card. And this prayer card was written by a young man, a squat little guy named Ephraim. And Ephraim Maldonado wrote this prayer. Pray for my family and for me and my charges, and pray for my friend Caleb Springer. Caleb was a hardened criminal. Caleb was in for some very, very serious charges, and Caleb was going to be in the state system for most likely a very long time. But in this moment, Ephraim asked us to pray for his friend. And I showed this to Sergeant McDowell and I said, this is what's changing 2C. This is what's transforming the Justice Center. It's the fact that Ephraim has somehow connected with Jesus in a way that he now prays for his friend Caleb. It's literally as simple as that. And the reality is this today, in a post-COVID world, whether it's an index card and a box of Bibles and 90 minutes with an old guy like me, or if it's the great team of leaders that you have in Dover and Oyster River and Exeter, and whether it's over Zoom or in person in small groups, or whether it's because of the phenomenal things that they did last summer. I mean, your area was a model in the Northeast, not only offering the experience they did for Young Life, but then to come back with a 3-day summer experience. Incredible. And as we hope to get more back online with our Young Life camps and everything else we do with the weekly clubs and campaigners, of course, we consider that partnership with St. Mike's, with Becca, and with Sammy to be so sacred. When all of that gets geared up again, we just want to make sure that you understand at the center of all of it, all of that activity, all of that goodness, the centerpiece is about relationships. What we need more than anything in this moment is to continue to have adults like you have in your community who are freed up to spend time with your community's young people, to build quality relationships, and then to introduce those people to the love of Christ. And then, whether it be Ephraim Maldonado or Caleb Springer or some kid at St. Mike's or some kid from Dover, we get to watch in wonder as we see what God does. And so, friends, tonight in closing, I just want to encourage each one of us to get behind Andrew and his great team. You know, this season, they're asking for a very, very modest amount of financial support, considering the incredible needs that they are meeting in your community. I know tonight, during this virtual banquet, they're hoping to end the night and have at least $15,000 in contributions. And they've made it very easy. There's a link below, and that'll be simple for us to be able to meet. You know, some of you are able to do that. A lot of us are about to get a check from the federal government, which, quite frankly, many people are not going to need. You know, I've spoken to some, even in my own neighborhood, and they've said, you know what, I don't even know what to do with this money. Well, I want to encourage you that at least a generous portion of that could go to Andrew and his team as that becomes available. Would you please respond in a beautiful way and make sure that Andrew and the leaders have everything they need to continue to build life-changing relationships with the kids of your towns?
Take a trip to your dark side. Come on, we'll have a good cry. 'Cause we're all lonely. Yeah, we're all lonely together. I want to share your sadness. I want to bear your sins. I want to bleed your blood. And I want to be let in. Don't we all just wanna be together? Leave what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy behind. If your face is down, take a look around. Do your fingers
As we begin to wrap up our virtual banquet tonight, I wanted to give a quick announcement. As many of you know, last year we, for the first time, did a virtual 5K as a fundraiser for Young Life here in the Seacoast. And as much as we are excited to see how financial partnerships turn out for the event tonight, we had a lot of great and positive feedback about the event that we did last year. It was a thing that helped motivate people to just get out and get some exercise and whatnot. So the weekend of May 21st, we will be having the 2021 virtual 5K. So further details will be coming out soon about that event, but we would like to cordially invite you and your family and your friends to participate in this. You're welcome to walk, you can run, you can hop on a bike if you want. If you have a skateboard or a longboard or some rollerblades, go ahead and strap those on and go for it. If you want to just go get in your car and drive 5 kilometers with some Dunkin' Donuts or a Roma Joe's in your hand, that's fine. So again, there will be further information coming out. We'll have a specific hashtag that you guys can use in order to participate, because last year we had folks take some selfies or a group selfie or some pictures along the route of whatever it is that they were running or jogging. And that just helped create a little bit of a buzz on social media about the event so that it felt like we were all kind of doing it together. Look for some more information about the 2021 Young Life Seacoast Virtual 5K coming up on the weekend of May 21st. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of our committee teams, our Young Life and Wildlife leaders, and all of the students that we have had the amazing privilege of getting to know and work with over this last year, I want to say thank you for joining us for the virtual banquet tonight, and we hope that we get to connect with you sometime soon, and we hope that you can be a part of the great things that are happening in this movement.